right now. Thank you very much indeed for coming in. Those claims by Ukraine that there is a new Russian military presence there, is there any way that we can verify those claims?
Absolutely. I think these claims are not only by Ukraine, but also the US have, the US ambassadors, they confirmed what they're seeing, that troops are crossing the border and a lot of military hardware is coming across. So it's a very significant moment, and this is an escalation. One of probably the biggest escalations we've seen over the last number of months. So this is significant. And the fighting, the battle going on around Donetsk airport, there's a loss of life on both sides. So this is very, very, very serious.
This is in stark contrast, though, to what the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov's been saying. He's been talking about the peace talks in Berlin, that he's going to push very hard for a ceasefire. And yet we've got all these Russians coming over the border.
Well, exactly. I mean, it's the analogies we saw last February when Crimea, when Russians sent troops into Crimea and they absolutely denied any sort of Russian forces there. And they sent them, they took their insignia off their uniforms. And then all of a sudden we saw the Russian army in Crimea. So I think the analogies are here now. And I think, you know, if we want to really understand how to stop this war, I think it's down to Vladimir Putin really now to understand that he cannot get away with it. You know, what President Obama was saying, you know, big nations cannot bully European sovereign states in 21st century Europe.
And of course, these allegations against Moscow are certain to ratchet up tensions ahead of that meeting in Berlin that will bring the Russians face to face with the Ukrainians.
Well, I think, you know, President Poroshenko has been saying from day one, ever since he was elected, that he is pushing for peace. I mean, we've seen more than 5,000 people killed already. And the loss of life, this is a tragedy for human, the cost of this whole war is absolute tragedy. And I think now, you know, the Ukrainians definitely want this war to end. They want the Russians to pull back and to see a ceasefire and a stop to this horrible war.
OK, they want the conflict to end, and yet they're increasing their military might by 68,000. Who are those people going to be, and what difference is it going to make?
Well, it's defending your nation. When you have a foreign aggressor crossing crossing the border, coming into your country, the question is now, how do you defend your land? How do you defend your sovereign state? And there's a conscription that's been going on for quite a number of months now. And there's a number of volunteers that are going out to defend the country. And we've seen many in the airport in Donetsk and other places. And these are the army. I mean, this is the Ukrainian army that's being called up to defend its own land, to defend its own freedom, and to defend that of Ukrainians living there and Ukrainian children for standing up for a better future.
Whose actions do you believe is behind this latest upsurge in violence in Ukraine?
Well, I think we have to understand why it's happening now. On the big picture, Russia is hit by these sanctions. Russia is hit by lower oil prices, down from about 120 down to under $50 a barrel now. So Vladimir Putin back at home has to come back to the Russians, the Russian population. The ruble has devalued by around 50%, and the Russian economy is in a bad state, in a very bad state. And this is an ideal opportunity for Vladimir Putin to shift the focus from the economy, something he should focus on. And then, you know, he could show, well, I'm fighting a war here, where I'm already sensing from some Russians, and some Russians, they're quite whispering at this at the moment. But they're saying, you know, why did we go into Crimea? I mean, this is costing us, this is costing the Russian economy a great deal. And what is it all for? I mean, President Putin's ego, I think that's something he's been very much focused on. He had his moments of glory after the Crimea, after they invaded. But I think now he's dug himself into a hole, into a very deep hole. And the question is now, how does he get out of this big hole?
OK. Andy Hunder from the Ukraine Institute. Thank you.
Thank you.